Reinback is usually used to help load the hindquarters, lift the front, and engage the core. But does it really do that? And a lot of that depends on the form you do the Reinback in and your horse's current muscle structure. So there are times when Reinback is not useful and it will hinder the horse and aid the compensation to develop further. So it's important to understand when you should and you should not use Reinback. So the Reinback, I haven't done a Reinback. I just want to demonstrate it first. I will also explain when not to use it. So the Reinback should happen in diagonal pairs. So it's like trot without a moment of suspension. The horse should remain straight. It requires flexion and extension of the pelvis and of the back. It also requires engagement of the abdominals and a lift and connection of the neck in order to have all of those things. So you can see if you're missing some pieces, can you use Reinback to improve those pieces, or are you actually then hindering the horse? It depends on what you're doing. So for her, this is the first Reinback of today. She's warmed up a little bit. So what is she doing? She is not flexing the lumbar spine. She is just pushing her bum up, pushing down lower into the thoracics and dragging the feet backward. She also went slightly crooked. Why? Because she's unevenly using the hips and the rib cage is not sitting central in the chest, so that will also create some crookedness in the actual Reinback itself. So what can we do about it? We want to try to think about, we need a little bit more flexion of the back. So what I want to try to do is to come a little bit more up, give her a little bit more connection generally, so she's actually loading a little better into the hind end. And then I want to come a little higher in the back. I want to come a little higher in the neck and then a little longer in the neck so that I actually have a little more engagement in the better. So you can see the left hind, that was better. The left hind is getting a little stuck in the floor. And the reason for that is she keeps that one all the time loading too much in the ground anyway. Good girl. So it's important to realize, okay, where is my problem? What can I do in order to help that problem? The exercise itself, as in Reinback, is not going to solve the problem. What you do within the Reinback to help the horse with the problems that it's got is the thing that is going to solve the problem. So we need to be really mindful. So I want to think about a little bit about the left hind this time. So I'm going to start my process again. I want to feel like, again, I can get a little bit more lift first in the thoracic region. So under here, I want her to come up a little and be a little bit more loaded into that pelvis anyway. So that might mean she's going to address the positioning of the limbs better. Then I want to come a little higher again in the neck, because the relationship between my base of neck and my lumbosacral junction is important. So in the beginning, the neck was dropped, so the lumbosacral junction had to compensate for that in order to counteract what the neck was doing. So up, and then I want to go here, and then this time I'm going to try to think of activating a drop better, and a drop. Yes, and a drop. Better. Now, that's a lot freer But again, what I would like is that she dropped a little in the neck. So I want her to lift a little bit through the base of the neck rather than to just push the neck down and still drag the forelimbs a little bit back. It was much better behind, but you're progressively helping in each section of the horse. So you get one bit, something else goes. So we think about the same thing again this time. So the pelvis was better. The whole of the Reinback was a little smoother and a little straighter. But this area here was a little bit pushing. So I want this area and this area so that I can keep the connection within the middle. So just bring her forward a little and straight. A little straighter than that. Good. Okay, so then I come up a little again in the thoracics. So I want it, my whip energy is here. So I want to come up. So I've got a little bit more shifting back in. So you can see she's just shifting a little bit back into the pelvis. That then lifts the base of neck. And then I want to keep the base of the neck coming up. I want to keep the left hind limb dropping, base of neck coming up. Left hind limb's got stuck again. So I want the drop there. The drop there, lift there, that's better. So then everything gets a little freer. And you're looking for even steps with activation of the joints. So the more I went into that, the more helpful it got. If I wasn't aiding the things, the more I go into it, the worse it's going to get. So if I'm just thinking I want the horse to go 4, 5, 6 steps backwards, then that's not going to be beneficial because my form is more beneficial than the exercise itself. So let me just show you the difference. This time I'm not going to help her with the start point. I'm just going to let her do the Reinback from where she is. So I haven't prepared the thoracics. She's not loading into the hindquarters. She's dropping and pushing here. Now, the more I go into the exercise, is that going to help solve those problems or is it going to make it worse? Let's have a look. So from here, I want to go backwards. So my first thing is, this is hard. So it's harder to start. Now, are the things getting better or are they getting worse? She's dropping more in the neck to try to solve the problem. The left hind has now come up. Now she's stuck. The steps aren't smooth. The left hind is still slow and she's dragging herself back. You can see then the neck gets way too long and so she's disconnected. So it's not your trying to think about what problems, and you can also use this as diagnostics because the information is there. What problems am I having? Am I having a problem here, here, or here? And then if you're solving all of the problems in those 3 areas, you're going to improve your Reinback, which means you're going to then improve your horse because that's where the improvement lies. So again, I want to get a little straighter. So I find my start position. I want to lift my thoracics again, have her a little bit thinking into the hindquarters. So a little bit shifting back to start with. I want to have my neck position up, lifting. So I've got that positioning where then my start is easier. Activate the left hind, lift the neck, activate the left hind, lift the neck, activate the left hind, lift the neck. So then as I go on, my good girl, my steps get freer. And that's what you're looking for. So following on from watching my horse, let's take a look at this horse with regards to Reinback. Now, this horse is really pushing this way. So there is an awful lot of chest and lower neck here. And then what we see is it all comes up. So the ability to load the pelvis for this pony is difficult because she can't come up here very well. She also doesn't have enough space through the neck in order to engage the back and the hindquarters correctly. So in this pony's case, I would not use Reinback until I had addressed the balance here, gained more length here, and was able to load the pelvis correctly.